My name is Brandy Coonan, and the application that I'm working on is the Cookbook Keeper, and this is the Sprint Retrospective number 2 for lesson 9.4. The two techniques that I chose was the interviewing one and the surveying one. Both of them, I believe, have the same sort of weakness, and that's being biased in the questions that you present towards the person being interviewed or surveyed. If you sound like you're leaning more towards a certain option, it can kind of lead your interviewee to have a certain opinion, and you don't want that. And the same can kind of happen with surveys. If you write the text to kind of lean towards a certain answer, even with the survey where people read the question, it can still lead to the same result. And you don't want any biasm in any of your interviews or surveys. As for what type of data they give, interviewing gives you mostly qualitative data, because you get to see exactly how the user feels about your product. Whereas surveys give both qualitative and quantitative data, as you can get to quite a lot of people through surveying, and if you have some open-ended questions in it, you can get that qualitative data that you need instead of just having the rate this from 0 to 5 sort of questions. They're both easy-ish to kind of set up, so I believe they're both basically a gold mine for potential data for both kinds, which is why I chose them. As for developing my project, I downloaded Android Studio, and I got the free version of Adobe Adobe XD, and I actually started working on creating the screen for my main screen through Adobe XD, and then I imported that into Android Studio and gave it the functionality that it needs, such as the buttons and the background and the text pop-up. So I did get that done. The user story I'm working on for that is the first one. I want to go in order. So the first one was basically just create the main screen, the form, and a way to store those recipes and then find them later. My personal work goal, honestly, was to get all the screens created. Well, the first goal was to figure out how to use Android Studio and Adobe XD, which I feel like I kind of got those. They were a lot easier to use than I thought they were going to be. So that kind of leads into the good thing that happened this week, was that it was a lot easier to use than I thought it was going to be. I wanted to get all the screens created, at least the designs for them created. Unfortunately, the thing that did go wrong this week, which kind of led to why that didn't happen, is my brother got me sick at the beginning of the week. And unfortunately for me, I have not found a cold medicine yet that has a non-drowsy version that actually works. They all kind of knock me out, which is not very good for when you're trying to focus on creating something. Next week, hopefully, I think this thing's petering out, so it should be a lot better next week, and I intend to basically move 2 times the speed and catch up next week. That being sick also kind of led to why the ad feedback of this did not work out too well. I did try to finish what the feedback was, to create a digital version of the wireframes and add them to my SDD. Unfortunately, I was only able to get 1.5 of the wireframes transformed digitally, and I did not have the time to put them into my SDD. I took screenshots of them, and I uploaded the screenshots to this assignment, but I'm sorry I was not able to get that done. That's one thing that will be top of my priority list next week. Improving moving forward is basically getting better and working double time to fix what didn't happen this week. So that's my sprint retrospective.